Thank you very much. So, thanks as well from my side. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thanks to the city of Brasov, to the mayor of Brasov, to Alain, to invite us, give us the opportunity to discuss with all of you these important topics, but as well these opportunities. And really, let's try to see the opportunities in all the challenges we see in front of us. I would like to talk about the energy transition. This is the seat where our research center is made. It's similar as we saw it in Brasov. It was a former aluminum industry which has been converted in a technology and innovation park with now around 2,000 people working in there from research, from innovation and startup companies. I have the pleasure there to lead a small team which is dealing with energy efficiency, renewables and e-mobility since around 20 years now. We've got there a series of laboratories which allow us to go deep into technology development and technology innovation of different energy fields, which we see absolutely necessary and important. On European level, I'm working since several years, more than 10 years actually, first in the renewable heating and cooling technology platform, and now in EURAC in trying to push renewable energy innovation in the space, because we have a lot of solutions here, but we need to go on the track of making renewable technology more accessible, cheaper, and more efficient. And finally, I would like to spend a word on energy utilities. We heard it before, because I think that utilities, especially public or partially public whole utilities, can be one of the elements which really help against energy poverty and actually give back access to energy and give back access to cheap energy to the city, and allow to do big necessary long-term investments in a city. So I followed one of these utilities for over 10 years, and we invested over 100 million a year in energy infrastructure, among them district heating system, e-mobility, refurbishment of buildings, so in all sectors of efficiency and of renewables, and it really can make a lot of difference if it's done in the right way for a city. So, energy transition of cities, in my understanding, energy is often collected only to electricity. And this is, in my opinion, not right. We have to see the full picture. So you have to see electricity, of course, but we have to see heating and cooling, and we have to see transport and industry needs. And we need to see both sides. On one hand, use as little energy as possible, so be as efficient as possible, and use as much as possible renewable, wasted, local energy sources. And the fact of local energy sources, in my opinion, is another key, because it gives you back a key in deciding where's the energy coming from, what is the price of the energy, and actually do we have it. So we do not want that somebody who sits thousands of kilometers away decides if we have energy and how much we have to pay for that. So let's try to keep the source and as well the added value on the territory and not send our money all over the world. I will like to bring you now to a short journey through European projects we were working on, we were leading, as well in order to tell you European projects are one opportunity to look deeper into certain topics which might be too difficult or too risky doing without them, and as well an opportunity to partner up. So I'm happy to hear from you if you're interested on that, and some practical experiences I went through. So I want to start with energy efficiency. Brasov has the beautiful opportunity to expand and to build new space, but I really invite you as well to look at what is there and keep investing in your building infrastructure. In order to keep it nice, in order to keep it accessible, to keep it beautiful, I'll show you a couple of pictures of an FP7 project we went through where we refurbished 35,000 square meters of social dwellings in Bolzano, northern Italy, a city I'm from. And actually refurbishment, in my opinion, is not only putting a new facade, making the building more efficient, but giving a lot of more services to the inhabitant than they have in older buildings. So access to balconies, access to ventilation, access to cooling, access to elevators, which in many buildings are not there, so elderly people have difficulty to get in their buildings. And there are many ways how you can do that. I know it's let's say, a hard stone to work, because usually payback times on a pure energy part are very long, so that's difficult to do. One example which is here, which I don't know if this is done in Romania or not, but I found it very interesting way to trigger investments is the fact to allow, if a certain way of refurbishment is done, to add volume. So in this case, you see there's one floor more afterwards than it was before. So the one who invests actually gets an additional volume who can sell on the market, and that gives, let's say, a possibility to do investments which otherwise would not be done. Okay, let's leave this part. We've done a series of projects on refurbishment technology, on speeding up refurbishment, on industrialization of facades, on bringing it more, and we always do that with demo applications in cities, because we believe we need to see technology not only in a lab, but actually in large-scale applications. So we're always looking for active partners and for cities where to implement demo application and where actually to show these new technologies and to see how they're working and where the difficulties are. I would like to close this session by saying that we have a whole research group working on the topic of historical buildings, and often historical buildings are seen as a part of the buildings which cannot be touched. They're historical, we cannot touch them. And that is not true at all. Obviously, a historic building needs to remain a historic building, and we need to be very attentive to what we can do. But you might not believe, but you can do a lot on historic buildings. By touching the elements you don't want to change. Obviously, if I have a fresco, you have a fresco and you're not going to touch the wall. But you might touch the roof, you might touch the ground, you might refurbish windows, you might put renewables on different places in there. And it's not only a matter of beauty and of efficiency, but again, it's a matter of comfort. If old buildings are getting more and more uncomfortable, people won't use them anymore. And you lose parts of your cities because the attractiveness goes down and so on and so forth. So look at that, and there are many solutions out there. In that project, for example, we combined this project with a project from the International Energy Agency, which we led, and we combined hundreds of case studies all over the world where very attractive refurbishments have been done. Let's come to the local resources, and the first thing I want to talk about is obviously renewables, but connected to district heating. I know district heating in many Eastern European countries had a very bad reputation because you had made bad experiences, it was inefficient, it was hot, it got switched off, it got cold in certain times, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, if a district heating is well done, it is a key to bring renewables into the town and to bring different renewables in town. We've seen Brasov is a very green city, so there's a lot of biomass around. So one obvious source would be to use the biomass which is surrounding. It might not be the one which is heating the whole city, but it can do a part of the game. And again, it's a local value chain. You give farmers the possibility to get some income for the biomass for not cutting down the whole forest, obviously, but for cleaning sustainably and looking sustainably after the forest which is out there. Another thing which I know is a lot discussed, and it's not renewable, or it's only partially renewable, but it's as well a local resource, is waste. We all have waste in our cities. We produce waste every day. Obviously, we try to recycle as much as possible, but as well it's obvious that we cannot come to the point where we recycle 100%. So waste is another possibility to use it, to collect it, to do it in a professional way, to have very clear standards on how you clean your area afterwards, but you can do it if done in an efficient way. You can produce local electricity, you can produce local heat, which is used on a local level. Every city has an individual best mix of local resources, and every city has to look what is out there. And there might be very different things. It can be deep or shallow geothermal. It might be in parts solar thermal in big applications. It might be waste heat from power plants, from industrial sites. It might be ambient heat from lakes, rivers, seas, or air. But all this needs to go into an optimized district heating system. And that is a long-term investment. You have to dig down millions of tubes under the floor of the whole city. But it is like an internet. Once you have it there, then you can start playing. And there can be different actors who bring in heat, who take out heat, who put their waste heat in there, and so on and so forth. And you can evolve it over time, change it over time in order to adapt it to the needs of the city. So we have been working a lot in that field. We are now leading, I think, our sixth project in the field of fourth and fifth generation district heating systems, looking very deep how you can manage best low temperature district heatings or different temperature district heatings where you actually take in as much heat as possible. In order to give you another concrete example, an average supermarket has waste heat for heating up around 300 flats in a house. So there's really a lot of energy which we're wasting every day, already present. We just need the technology to use it best and to bring it back. And obviously industry is another thing. It might be high temperature industry, low temperature industry, data center we have been talking about, or many other sources. Local renewable electricity sources, we will hear afterwards something about energy community, so I don't want to go into details about that. Obviously, PV is the most obvious thing, and let's try to use what we have in our town, but that might not be enough. And we probably need the surroundings in order to install more renewables, in order to get enough renewable energy for the cities we are living in, because the density and the consumption in these cities is much higher. So we are leading at the moment a European project on the combination of photovoltaics and agriculture, which in my opinion is another way of reducing the impact of renewables and using a surface twice. We try to find all these ways where it is beneficial for both sides, for the energy side and the agriculture side, not to get 100% of sun, to get a little bit less sun, but still exactly the right amount which the plants need below. And obviously, if you integrate PV in buildings, you can do it in many ways. I'm, let's say, a big fan of possibly doing it right and doing it as sensible as possible. If you are interested and have some case studies, we collected here a series of case studies from northern Italy and the whole Alpine space on photovoltaics, how to integrate it best in different buildings. We combined it again with an International Energy Agency task, new buildings, old buildings, historic buildings, and there are really many possibilities by now by photovoltaics to be integrated in a proper way. Another way of using renewable energy, and we've heard it before, is access to transport. And electrification of transport is the way how you can change from importing diesel or petrol from somewhere else in the world by using your renewable energy which you have on site and which you produce on site. Obviously, e-mobility is much more than cars. So electric cars are much better than fossil cars because they are much more efficient and because they are silent, they have no emissions, and so on and so forth. But obviously, it is much better than an electric car is to use a smaller way of moving around. It might be a roller, it might be an electric bike, or it might be this kind of shared mobility. I know it's a discussion in cities. Several Italian cities as well closed them completely out because of a traffic issue. But from an energy perspective, this kind of small mobility is super efficient. Super efficient. And obviously, as well, from a space perspective, instead of moving 2 tons of metal around you and batteries and needing 10 square meters of surface, you have a very small battery and you need not even 1 square meter. So you need much less space and you actually as well move your body. So for all distances where this is possible, and Brasov is a small city, most of the distances within a city you can do it with this kind of small transportation is a perfect solution. Electrification of transport obviously goes all the way, including as well logistics. We heard it before, and public transport. I saw that here in Brasov a lot has been done. We did a lot of monitoring and simulation on buses, just published some data on comparing electric and hydrogen buses to diesel buses. And I think this is another way, again, using local renewable energy for your transportation. Obviously, you need as well here is not just you change one vehicle with another one. It is a whole system which has to be changed. You need a whole thinking about infrastructure which is needed. Which one do I have to pay? Which one can I leave over private actors to pay because there is a business model behind it? But it is needed. Without infrastructure, this transformation will not come. And we are working, we're leading several projects in that field. I'm coming to the conclusion, talking about green. Green has nothing to do with energy, might be, but it has to do. Because a greener city has not only a better air quality and it's nicer to live in, but it's as well, it's much cooler in hot days. So we heard it before from Metaverse that she doesn't want to be grilled every day. Well, greening is one of the ways how not to be grilled. It's clear that the temperature, if you are in a concrete desert, is much higher than if you are in a green surrounding. We are leading here a project on nature-based solution, how to bring back nature-based solutions, again with a series of cities around Europe, and I'm happy to include in future as well, cities from Romania. Last words. Brasov, I think, we saw it yesterday, it's a beautiful city and a long heritage, and I think the grandfathers gave you a beautiful place to live in. I had the opportunity to drive a little bit around and to run around as well other parts of Brasov. And I said it before, Brasov has the big opportunity of growth, of building new infrastructure. I would say it's as well a big responsibility. And let's make sure that the future generations can be proud about what we're doing today as we are what our grandfathers have been done in the past. So let's make sure that what we build is really sustainable. And I, in certain parts, was wondering, maybe I just didn't see it. Where's the solar? Where are the trees? Where are the kids' playgrounds? Are the bicycle lines all there? Or the electric mobility infrastructure there? Let's think about the fact that what we're building today stays there at least the next 50 years. And if you do it right now, it costs very little. If you have to correct it in a second way, it is complicated and very costly. Thank you for your attention.